Welcome back, guys. My name is Abhilash Aswal, and I make videos and topics to help people ace their management school. And when you subscribe right now, I will send you a notification and an update whenever I create a new video, so you don't miss out on anything. Today, I'm going to discuss what is customer lifetime value and how do we calculate it. We will also look at some common ways of increasing CLV in both B2B and B2C segments. Customer lifetime value means the total amount of money that the consumer might spend on your business during their lifetime. It can also be looked at as the net present value of all future cash flows from the customer. You must be wondering, why do we need to calculate it? Isn't it just another marketing jargon that you have to remember? Well, there is a quantitative side to it, which is far more important than the theoretical definition. CLV enables the strategy to allocate a company's time and effort. This puts them ahead of the competitors. Because of CLV, you will know if your customers like your product or not, which will give you an insight on where to make improvements. It helps you to monitor your progress with the help of CLV. If it is increasing, then it means that customers are deriving actual benefit out of your offering. You can also notice the trend if it is decreasing. Then that means that customers have moved on to other competitors. You can plan your marketing budget wisely by analyzing and projecting anticipated CLVs. CLV also provides an insight to when a company can increase its revenue per user without having to lose money maintaining the old ones. I'd like to state two examples here. First, of Starbucks, which, according to a research by Bain, found out that an increase in customer lifetime value from 25 to 95% can be achieved by just a 5% increase in customer satisfaction. And you would be surprised to know that Starbucks CLV is approximately $14,000 right now. Second, for Netflix, the average length for which a customer stays is 25 months, and Netflix spends about $150 to acquire a new customer. The average payment made by a customer per month through Netflix is approximately $11.65. So, in 25 months, the expected total payout becomes approximately $290. So, Netflix is actually making a total profit of $140 from one customer. Although it seems like they're making a loss in the first year, but if you look at the customer lifetime value, then the proposition seems profitable. Let's walk through a basic CLV model and see how it's derived from the conceptual definition as the net present value of future cash flows from the customer. First, let me define the terms which are used to calculate CLV. Capital M, which is the total contribution of active customers in a cohort. The term cohort here refers to specific experiences, events, or factors which are shared by a group of consumers. These cohorts are used to identify and target segments of the market where it makes sense to group them and treat as one. Capital R is how much the company spends in acquiring or retaining a customer. Small r is the percentage of customers who stay back after a fixed time period. And D is the discount rate, which is how much money I would have made had I invested this money in the market within the period. So the final formula for CLV becomes M minus R multiplied by, in the numerator, 1 plus D divided by 1 plus D minus R. This can be broken into two parts as the short-term margin multiplied by the long-term multiplier. Now let's walk through an example of Spotify to understand how CLV is calculated for them. Spotify is an example of a freemium business model, and they derive their revenues from both subscription and advertisements. In quarter 1 of 2020, out of 1848 million euros, 1700 million euros came from premium subscriptions. So it's fair to say that it contributes to about 90% of the revenue. The monthly average users are around 286 million, out of which 130 million are premium subscribers. So for the sake of ease, I've taken some assumptions while doing this calculation. Number of customers is the new added customers in the period. I have safely assumed it as a difference of the last available statistic. The average revenue per user, or ARPU, is 4.42 euros. This is my capital M from the formula. Variable costs and marketing spend collectively become my retention spend, and the retention rate is 95.2% and discount rate is assumed to be 10%. So now using this formula, the calculated CLV becomes 26.6 euros. And when you multiply that with the total new customers, you will get the total CLV. What this means is an average customer from this cohort will generate a revenue of 26.6 euros during its lifetime. So I went ahead and fudged some of these numbers to generate various possibilities. Now these are numbers just for representation, but can be manipulated to predict CLVs for different strategies. You may pause the video right now and see how CLV changes out of the lot, and the highlighted cell yields the best CLV out of them. Now there are two possibilities. Either you pay and use a service, or use the service and pay later. The formula for CLV changes in the latter. This is the original formula that we have, and this is ideal for services like Netflix, Hotstar and Spotify. But in scenario where you use the service first and pay later, like credit cards, the formula changes to this, where the long-term multiplier has a change. In the numerator part, we replace 1 plus d by just r. But have you wondered how do we calculate CLV for services which aren't bound by contract, like dining or grocery shopping? I'm going to leave you with that thought and maybe cover that sometime later. Lastly, I'd like to discuss some ways to increase CLV both in B2B and B2C segments. These factors would directly or indirectly affect components in calculating CLV. For B2B, keep your customers updated. If you have tweaked your software or made some changes to your product, then make sure your client does not face any issues while upgrading to the new one. The communication and transition from your end should be as smooth as possible. The number of customers is generally lower in B2B, which makes it a little easier for you to cater to problems that they face. If they have just started using your product, then you can form a team that can organize a training session for the client staff. Basically, if they have a problem regarding your product, then you should make sure that you address it properly. The next step is to listening problems and being aware. You should be aware about what your clients are up to, because that is an indication of new requirements that might arise, and you should be the first one to grab those. Now, who can extract this information? The frontline employees who are interacting with the client on a regular basis. It's important that they are trained to identify opportunities, as it would give you an advantage to make that sale. Building relationships will go a long way, and you may not realize this right now, but companies do not do business with companies. It's the people who are doing business with other people. In B2C, segmenting customers on the basis of their stage in the sales funnel will define your strategy. You don't want to waste your advertisement about how you and the band have known each other since you were kids on non-English speaking customers. It's a Spotify reference. A happy customer will go a long way with you, but a frustrated customer will improve you. Address all queries and problems which are faced by customers. Chances are thousands others face this problem but did not bother telling you and simply switch to other products. Build premium products or services that distinguish something that you already sell. This way, the conversion ratio of existing customers will increase. Choose the products with the support of analytics. You can even conduct a survey to know which products customers are more likely to buy and try out with A/B tests. Lastly, don't be in your customer's face all the time. While constant communication with your customers is important, it gets annoying if a customer gets 10 pop-ups from you in a day. Many customers tend to unsubscribe because of regular notifications. Thank you for watching the video. I will be back with some more interesting content. In the meanwhile, please subscribe to my channel and watch other videos.